friends left yet? Okay, good. We're good. We're all good. still Spotify. Let me just see. Parkour. Parkour. Does he jump over this bad thing? I'm just gonna jump over it anyway. Basically a definite. I hate these balls. Balls. Are we supposed to jump on it? How are we supposed to do this? That's my fucking... How? So, like, the floor is lava or something? Easy dub, easy dub. so bad at this damn game. I was better. This guy basically copied what I was going for. But you know what? And then, I ain't got time for that. I don't got time for it. I don't got time for nothing. Good. What the fuck are we supposed to do here? Oh, so we're supposed to do that. Okay. Technique. Stay hungry. Power. Put in the hours. And check what's hours. Frick. Drive the power. Devour. This is getting to be the stupidest thing I've ever decided. Go on. Damn it. We'll try again. I literally just realized I did not have to jump. See how this dumbass it. Okay. Good technique. No, stop. There we go. There we go. There we go. supposed to be doing here, man? Like, my gosh. Black Flags Matter video. Black Flags Matters video, aka Darian. We're gonna have to start out with the very very with the very start of this.
I have a challenge for all of you. Go to every computer
Nobody cares about the challenge that we have for Mr. I just want to know.
in your house, your mom's, your dad's, your sister, your brother's computer, and
So we all know the chaos that is currently happening in this country right now and within the sport of NASCAR, and including myself. And I will get to all of that during this week, trust me. But until then, I need to go one at a time, bit by bit, and go step by step through all that is happening right now. First things first, let's expose this fucking monster. This guy's name is Jacoby, a former NASCAR YouTube streamer and a former iRacer who has raced with the likes of Dale Earnhardt Jr., Chase Briscoe, and Alex LeBay in the past in certain leagues.
So this son of a bitch, this guy, right? So this guy has raced with Dale Jr. and all those legends. He. Why? Why?
He's an elder statesman of the iRacing community, or I guess you want to say the sim racing community, because he's been here for so long. He was known for making his famous rig that cost, I believe, almost 35 grand. But in the past couple of years, we are starting to realize who this guy really is. A complete monster. And a huge shout out to Austin from across the border for exposing this guy for who he really is as well. The link to his channel will be in the description.
We're gonna watch that video.
Hey guys, I thought it was necessary to make you all aware of a situation that's been developing with the former iRacing streamer Jason Jacoby. I'm going to put two numbers on the bottom of the screen here. One is going to be the nonviolent crimes number for the Gainesville, Georgia Police Department. The second is going to be the, again, nonviolent crime number for the Athens, Georgia Police Department. If you've had any encounters with Jacoby that kind of match what's discussed in this video, I encourage you to take the 5 or 10 minutes out of your day to call these numbers and give them your side of the story, as any little bit's going to help in this situation. So what's been going on with this dude over the past couple of years? For those who need a refresher course, Jason Jacoby is a former iRacing streamer who kind of rose to prominence in the community by building a $25,000 late model chassis that he then stuffed inside his man cave.
What you guys are gonna soon find out that this guy isn't all sunshine and rainbows. He's a very he's basically just a monster that should not be allowed anywhere. Anywhere around anybody. He should be in the maximum security prison at this point.
And would stream races from. He had a custom fire suit made for himself, featuring all of his social media accounts, as well as Domino's Pizza, which he wasn't actually sponsored by. It was just the job he worked at. And he just sort of role.
So you mean to tell me that this guy does not have sponsors from Domino's. He was lying this whole time.
Played being a NASCAR driver on Twitch, more or less. I know that premise sounds kind of cringy, but he actually is an elder statesman of sim racing. If
Jason Jacoby is a cringe carnival at that.
you can believe it or not, his experience in online NASCAR stuff goes back to the Dirty Mo Posse, Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s private league from NASCAR 03. So this guy's actually raced against guys like Dale Jr. and Denny Hamlin. And on iRacing, one of the reasons you would tune into his streams is because he would frequently race against guys like Chase Briscoe and Alex Labbe and just other people on their way up through the NASCAR ladder. So as long as you could kind of get over his personality, which mirrored, I guess, Ned Flanders and his kind of role.
Ned Flanders has a better personality than Jason Jacoby. And I want to know about Jason Jacoby is still doing this to other people. But we have yet to get into anything. That this sick monster has done.
Playing elements of the stream, there were actually some big names that he was kind of loosely affiliated with. Now, while this guy's on-screen persona was kind of a supercharged version of Ned Flanders, just tripping over himself to be as polite as possible at any given moment, there were a couple of red flags that made me start paying a bit more attention to this guy. First of all, a custom fire suit for sim racing is absolutely not necessary, and they run around $400 to $500. So it kind of made me a bit confused as to why a small-time streamer with not many views was going above and beyond to advertise basically just the shitty minimum wage job he worked at, to the point he got a whole fire suit made with like all of his social media links and stuff. On top of that, you guys know I race late models sporadically in the summer. I generally know how much it costs to build a chassis, to get all the body panels ordered from 5-Star, to get something like that wrapped, as well as the cost of sim gear.
So this guy, and also shout out to everybody that we're going to be watching their videos. This guy and shout out to Austin. But anyway, this guy has basically Austin already knows what it's like. But apparently Jason Jacoby can just out of his minimum wage job, which he most likely stole money from the cash register, can afford a sim rig and a custom fire suit. If that's not red, if that's not red flags, I don't know what it is.
And Jacoby's rig cost something like 2 or 3 times more than my actual car did. And I kind of wondered how this dude was able to afford that when he was so openly talking about working at a Domino's Pizza as a delivery driver. The mask eventually started to slip on Jacoby's part when I just straight up asked him about it on a live stream a few years ago, and he admitted he funded the whole build with burner credit cards and payday loans.
What did I say? What did I say? I mean, it's smart for Jason Jacoby to do that, but why? At least he didn't steal that cash register, though.
The amount of credit cards used to fund this rig, including cash advances, I had to get some of those to pay.
Credit cards, cash advances.
For it, but I can't. I'm not supposed to get into that. I told my parents I wouldn't do that, but okay. So a couple is 2, a few is 4, right in between a couple and a few. But yes, some of them got pretty close to maxed.
It turns out that this is the least of his troubles. While trying to grow his YouTube channel, Jacoby, who's almost 30, became involved with a very young girl who was fresh out of high school.
you ever think of doing that? Jason Jacoby should be in jail. We all know this. And if you disagree, then, well, you're dumb. Or you don't have a brain.
She eventually became his chat moderator, his girlfriend, and they eventually had a kid together.
How old is Jason Jacoby? But I mean, if they're just being friends or such, and like Jason Jacoby wasn't trying to do anything, that I can understand.
If you commented on the age difference between the two, which we're not quite sure if it was illegal or not, you were immediately banned from his chat. If you commented on the prevalence of very young children, either in his Discord server or just in his YouTube chat, you were also immediately banned from his chat. You can probably see where this video is going, so please turn off the video if you're not comfortable with these topics.
So basically, he didn't want to talk about it. He didn't want to talk about it.
He was not comfortable with it. Because he knows he's a monster. Yeah. Yes, yeah, I'm pretty sure you already know where this is going.
About a year and a half after the child was born, the mother of his child, the girl's name is Mackenzie, came on to a couple of different sim racing Facebook groups, basically asking everyone for help. The hyper politeness that we kind of got to know from Jacoby through his live streams, in short, was all an act. Jacoby had abandoned Mackenzie and his small child to continue to stream iRacing obsessively day after day after day, and was not even paying child support. And at 18 or 19 years old, this girl had no idea what the fuck to do and had come to the sim community asking for help. Upon this info going public, Jacoby penned an extremely long Facebook post in which he blamed God for getting him back into sim racing.
So you mean to tell me that to get back into sim racing, he abandons his girlfriend and the kid and blames God for it? Good grief, my guy. I just don't understand how you can be that stupid.
Admitted he tried to kill himself during a Domino's Pizza delivery run by intentionally crashing his car, and that he prayed to God for the strength to not emotionally abuse his baby mama, but God didn't answer his prayer, so it's not his fault.
Kinda is your fault. Kinda is his fault.
He then went back to streaming iRacing almost full time, and if you commented in his chat asking where Mackenzie was or, encouraging him to pay child support,
I'm just gonna go ahead and guess you were banned.
you'd immediately be kicked and banned from his chat room by a team of moderators who were also suspiciously young. Now, if
Okay, forget what I said. Forget what I said about should. He needs to be in. Jason Jacoby should be in prison after what he did. But I mean, my good grief. My good grief, man. I don't understand how he can live with himself. Makes me sick.
Eventually, he did pull his entire channel down without warning one day, and a few months later, Mackenzie surfaced once again, this time with much more serious allegations.
So he pulled a Joseph Lombard. We'll get into Joseph Lombard later.
And again, I encourage you to click off the video if you are not comfortable reading this stuff. Mackenzie claims that he intentionally grooms and manipulates people into getting what he wants from them. And that can be sexual, or that can just be favors in terms of just buying NASCAR memorabilia or favors in the sim racing community. She claims that he was essentially raping her at some point.
He was... This man... This... dude... You don't know how bad that I just want to. I just want to do things to him that I cannot describe on this live stream.
During the relationship, because he was just so disproportionately tall compared to her that she really couldn't say no. This is obviously a long message, so just pause it if you want to read the whole thing.
I cannot read that.
He also believes, supposedly, that he was going to be recruited into NASCAR based on his iRacing skill alone, and Domino's would sponsor him. And this is something he actually repeats on a podcast interview with Joseph Lombard a few months later.
Newsflash, you don't get recruited into NASCAR just because of your iRacing. Just because of your iRacing skill. But God knows you ain't never getting nowhere in life, Mr. Jason Jacoby.
And Ray had never heard of Dale Jr.'s League, and for me, that was the reason I got into it, was so I could
Look at the name. Look at the name.
meet guys like Dale Jr. and see if maybe a ride could come of it or something like that.
Now let's get into the really heavy stuff. This girl claims that she has proof of him sending underage girls pictures of his dick.
This type of stuff just needs to stop. I don't... understand.
Which is realistically a felony, and he's probably going to go to jail for this at some point. There is chatter that he supposedly tried to scam the Lombard bros, who received some sort of settlement from their dad passing away. He supposedly tried to scam them out of 10 grand. She claims that
This guy tried to scam... He won't last 10 seconds in federal prison.
he would jack off at Domino's Pizza while they're on the clock. There are multiple felonies here. Now, obviously, you guys...
He would do the deed while at Domino's. Why? Why would you why would you even think about that? Just keep going. I can't with this guy.
You guys want to know how Jason responded to this? He responded by completely incoherent rants on both Facebook and his official website that are essentially a mix of schizophrenia and multiple cluster B personality disorders. This stuff does not make any sense to read. He constantly talks about God talking to him through the results of NASCAR races and connecting signs of just him going about his everyday life at Home Depot or playing racing sims as some sort of grandiose plan that God has for him. And it just makes no fucking sense to read. Like, it genuinely does not make sense.
I don't understand. What? Where's the logic in that?
So even if you're a person like myself who is not very inclined to believe when women are lashing out against a guy like this, when you ask for the other guy's side of the story and all he can do is ramble on about God knowing everything and God having a path for him, sorry, but I'm inclined to believe the woman at this point. So as you can
Honestly, so am I.
see, this is absolutely off the rails, and again, I will mention the numbers on the bottom right-hand side of the screen. If you've had run-ins with this guy, whether it be on Discord or the iRacing forums or just some sort of sim group or sim league, and he's done any of the stuff I've mentioned in this video, the scamming, the lewd pictures to minors, the grooming, the manipulation, that sort of stuff, now is absolutely the time to call these numbers.
Yeah, guys. These numbers right here. You guys have anything? I hate when they do this on a live stream like this. But if you guys have ever had a run-in with him, call these numbers. Oh, and hi Monster, how you doing, bud?
And just, spend 5 or 10 minutes of your day talking to the police about this guy, because there is a file being built against him. There is an
Good. There should be.
investigation underway, from what I believe. Mackenzie does have a lawyer. Now is the time to let these people know of your experiences with this guy, because this is fucking ridiculous. We also owe, as a community, an apology, not only to this girl, but to the people that Jacoby has hurt behind the scenes over the years, as the sim community absolutely botched their handling of the situation. If you go on Reddit and you search up Jason Jacoby, there are a few topics both in our NASCAR and our iRacing that discuss him, and in particular, there are comments from a user by the name of the Stig Wannabe, who claims to have been aware of all this behavior 2, 3, even 4 years ago.
So this dude already knew what Jacoby was doing, but apparently, I'm guessing the dude was too scared to tell anybody else about it. But I don't know. Tell me what you guys think about it.
But when he tried to go public and expose Jacoby for this behavior, which realistically was the right thing to do, not only would Jason Jacoby's supporters basically just bully and brigade the guy into silence, but moderators actually sided with this group of people and began closing and locking threads related to Jason Jacoby. So there's actually a chance that all of the stuff I've talked about in this video could have been prevented, but anytime people tried to come forward, parts of the sim community were covering it all up. If you engage...
People were covering this man. What monsters? What monsters would do such a thing? I just don't understand some people, man.
Engaged in this behavior, and you're guilty of it, as mad as we are at you for being a piece of shit, it's not too late to come forward and say that you played a role and help out the investigation and to clear your name, especially because this group might actually include up-and-coming NASCAR drivers. At the moment, Jason Jacoby is still uploading on his personal YouTube channel these.
We're gonna check Jason Jacoby's YouTube channel after we watch the videos on him and see the type of videos that he posted. But if he's still posting, we're gonna watch.
Very long-winded rants that don't make any sense. I encourage you to start saving these because we don't know if these will be pulled down, but for the time being, you can head over to his channel and you can experience some of what I've talked about firsthand.
I can't. There is no words that I can say. So this man, my gosh,
A lot has happened in the 9-month span since we uploaded the first video exposing Jason Jacoby. He's been at it once again.
we're gonna have to watch this. We're gonna have to watch this one first.
Hey, you know what's better than a $5,000 PC?
What?
A $5,000 PC that costs $0. It's time to give you free.
So we all know the chaos that is currently happening in this country right now and within the sport of NASCAR, and including myself. And I will get to all of that during this week, trust me. But until then, I need to go one at a time, bit by bit, and go step by step through all that is happening right now. First things first, let's expose this fucking monster. This guy's name is Jason Jacoby, a former NASCAR YouTube streamer and a former iRacer who has raced with the likes of Dale Earnhardt Jr., Chase Briscoe, and Alex LeBay in the past in certain leagues. He's an elder statesman of the iRacing community, or I guess you want to say the sim racing community, because he's been here for so long. He was known for making his famous rig that cost, I believe, almost 35 grand.
And if you guys haven't watched, he used credit cards to fund this sim rig, and I'm willing to bet that he stole money from Domino's.
But in the past couple of years, we are starting to realize who this guy really is. A complete monster. And a huge shout out to Austin from across the border for exposing this guy for who he really is as well. The link to his channel will be in the description. Anyways, let's get into it in case you forgot who this guy was.
So what's been going on with this dude over the past couple of years? For those who need a refresher course, Jason Jacoby is a former iRacing streamer who kind of rose to prominence.
Oh, and guys, we already watched this already, so I'm not gonna skip it if you guys haven't seen it yet.
Prominence in the community by building a $25,000 late model chassis that he then stuffed inside his man cave and would stream races from. He had a custom fire suit made for himself, featuring all of his social media accounts, as well as Domino's Pizza, which he wasn't actually sponsored by. It was.
Oh, okay. So everything sponsorship wise was BS. How fucking stupid do you have to be to believe this clown? You know what? Screw it. I'm gonna do something. Never mind. No, I'll do it after.
Was just the job he worked at.
So you have a shitty minimum wage job, you do iRacing all the time, you were able to buy this big rig, and his channel only accumulated, I think, around 5,000 to 6,000 subscribers. So there is no way in hell he should be able to afford that, right? Well, here's how he did.
The amount of credit cards used to fund this rig.
You see? You see? He used credit cards.
Including cash advances, I had to get some of those to pay for it. But I can't. I'm not supposed to get into that. I told my parents I wouldn't do that. But okay, so a couple is 2, a few is 4, right in between a couple and a few.
He charged Jason out the ass for that sim rig. It was not worth what he paid for it, and
Are
that's
we allowed
really
to
all.
ask what he paid for it?
It's public. It's public news. So I mean, he paid probably it was over 30 grand.
What?
He said it on streams before. Yeah, maxed out credit cards. He said it on streams before. That's why.
He maxed out credit cards. He maxed out credit cards. This guy may be a clown and a monster, but he is smart for doing that.
I have no problem telling you the price of that because he said it before. People know it. He put it out there publicly, so I will put it out there as well.
Okay, so this guy is freaking delusional, number one. Number two, he was under the impression that if he was good enough in iRacing, it would eventually warrant a ride in the Cup Series. Okay.
No. That's not how it works.
Any NASCAR fan with common sense knows that just because you're good in iRacing does not mean it'll automatically warrant a Cup Series ride. It is all a part of some sort of gimmicky advertising, marketing stuff from iRacing, okay? It is not real, okay? Just because you are good in iRacing does not mean it'll warrant a ride. And interesting enough, Austin actually races in his spare time, and for his entire set of tires and his car, pretty much everything combined, it was around 16 grand. Okay, moving on to the victim in question, Mackenzie Gordon, Jason Jacoby's former girlfriend and the mother of his child. There have been a lot of people choosing sides over the years.